How's it going, everyone? Thanks for tuning in today. We're going to be talking about backdoored autographics cards today. I've seen a bunch of these pop up on eBay recently. Huge shout out to Abra Calabro over on the hobby boards for first pointing this out. You can see his thread here where he does identify a backdoor copy. We're going to be looking at that one as well as a couple others. And these are part of most likely the Fleer bankruptcy, which if you're not familiar with that, we're going to be getting into that as well. I did speak to this on an episode of Inside the Hobby, just released yesterday. I'll link to that show as well. We talk about these backdoor copies. We talk about other fake Fleer cards and other, backdoor or fake cards on the show. We do go into just some general 90s talk, so it was a pretty fun episode. I will link to that as well. But what is a backdoor copy? Essentially, Fleer went out of business in 2005. And what they did was they held a massive sale of a lot of inventory that they still had left over. So you can see here, they had autographs, errors, test proofs, uncut sheets, unstamped parallels. That's what we're going to be getting into here, because that's actually how to identify these. So that happened, right? And a lot of this stuff got out in the wild, and for years and years, it's been, either sold as is, where it's identified, or, and some unscrupulous people have tried to fake these and make them look like they're real legit pack pulled cards, which they're not. So we'll get into that auction that Abrad had identified there. Let's see, let me go back here to the actual auction page. And the unfortunate part about this is it's not labeled in the title. There's nothing in the description about this being a backdoor copy. I did reach out to the seller. I should have probably reached out a little while back. I took a little hiatus on content here, so I should have probably picked this up sooner, but I wanted to make a video about this because I've seen a lot of these being sold by this seller in particular recently, but there's other examples as well of these floating around on the internet, on eBay, possibly at shows, who knows. So anyway, how do you identify this? And we're looking at, the century marks here specifically, but this could relate to the regular autographics as well. We're going to zoom in on the card, and you can see clearly here, and I'm going to show you another example of how you can tell us there's no stamp. Well, what does the stamp actually look like? Let's go check out this Travis Best. This is another auction that I pulled up, and you can see right here, there's your stamp. All right. I'll show you some examples of actual cards as well. I have a bunch of these in my collection, but that's what it's missing. Okay. It is stamped. That's a legit copy. We're going to go back to this one. Likely this serial number was this serial number here, this hand numbered serial number was also added as well, because typically they look like this. You can find these graded as well, so another thing to look out for. The copy here, you can see that PSA labeled trading card. That's their way of getting away from actually putting the release, the year, the set, all that stuff. Somebody just sent this in to certify the autograph. But again, let's take a look at it. Let's zoom in. We can see, and this copy, there is no serial number. That's why I think there's a serial number that was probably added later, because we see a lot of these backdoor copies actually without the serial number, without the stamp, but you can see again, no stamp. Okay. But that's the way these guys are getting around it as well, to go sell these as century marks, which I'll talk about why that's a little bit more valuable here in a minute. But again, here's another example from that same seller, likely an added serial number as well. But again, there is no stamp. And if you're looking at these cards and you're wondering to yourself, are they legit? That's the first thing to look for. If it's a bad photo or something, you could always ask the seller to provide you with a better photo or identify the stamp. But yeah, just I don't know. It's something to look out for. I figured I'd bring it up. Here's another one that he had actually sold here. Unfortunately, it looks like the same deal. I found several examples of this of already sold ones. Here's another one, and yet another. All right, so we're gonna take a look at my examples here just to show you. Okay, so the ones we were looking at specifically down here were the 99 2000 Skybox Autographics, but I've seen these go back even to like the 96. This is my McDice here, but you can see, let's see if we can pull this up on camera. Here's the stamp, right? And these are, they didn't have century marks. Well, they did have, they had a variation back then in 96, which was a blue autograph variation. I do have one of those, but I don't believe they called them century marks. They might have, I'm not sure. Here's 97, 98. We have this Tony Batty, where you can see the stamp right there. That's your regular version. This is the Century Marks version, which actually was just blue ink this season. Let's see if we can get the serial to show up. I'm sorry, not serial, but the stamp. And these were numbered out of 50. And so the Century Marks essentially had some kind of differentiation. Like in this example, they were blue ink. But then 98, 99. Is this 98, 99? Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So anyway, they did have different hollow foil. But again, you can, I'm trying to get this to focus. You can see the stamp there. There it is. Sometimes it's hard to tell. That's why if you can't really pick it out from an auction photo or something, you know, ask the seller to provide you with a different photo or maybe like a close-up of the stamp. Here's the base version. It does have the stamp. There it is. And then the version that we were looking at, or I'm sorry, the year that we were looking at, here's the 99 2000 Autographics cards. And so this is your base parallel. And then this is your century mark. And the difference being that it had purple hollow foil right here. And then they're hand numbered. So pretty clear Skybox stamp there. And you can pretty clearly see the Skybox stamp on the century marks as well. All right, so that's it. I just wanted to throw this quick video up to give you all a heads up. If I do hear back from the seller regarding these cards, I will let you know. I'll give you an update. Highly likely that these are going to continue to be sold. You know, I'll give the guy the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he acquired these in the collection or something and didn't know about it. But regardless, they are backdoor copies. Over on the hobby boards, we do have an entire thread dedicated to fake 90s, backdoor trimmed, fake whatever cards. Go check it out. If you have a question about these, you can post there. I may do some other videos on some of the additional Fleer bankruptcy cards that are out there in the wild, because there are quite a few and they get sold, and some of them are really high value cards as well. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate you checking this out. Do check out the hobby boards when you have a chance. Get signed up if you're not already. And check out the latest episode of Inside the Hobby where I was a co-host. Thanks.